Okay, on to something completely different. I'm going to take up the next 10 minutes or less. Let me just, I'm going to be talking a bit about what we need to focus on to help us get through the recession in particular. I'm going to share the screen. Hopefully you can see a couple of slides here. Let's get this going. Okay, so as you know, the theme for today is reflection and action. So when I thought about what's happened over the last few months, and my thoughts actually turned way back to 2008, and I realised some of you wouldn't have been running a business at that time in the Great Recession of 2008. But interestingly, some of what was reflected on then is equally applicable now. So that's what I wanted to sort of share with you. And I think, to be honest, you need an honest appraisal of your own vulnerabilities at this time. And when you've got an economic environment like we have, we are in recession and we will be for a while. We have to go back and assess our own vulnerabilities. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I'm going to stick up here, I'm going to go through quickly because I'm hoping that most of you get it. I don't want to teach my granny to suck eggs here, but it definitely needs re-emphasising. So the following points, like just as in the last recession, liquidity was the key to survival. Cash is the key to surviving this situation as well. So again, kind of obvious, some of these answers, but not often done. Monitor your cash position, I would say weekly as an absolute minimum. Really tightly manage that customer credit. Really aggressively manage your working capital. Again, all cash things involved here. Reduce costs, that's a huge catch-all type phrase, but again, thinking back and reflecting on the last recession, we found costs in our business that we didn't know we had. So it allowed us to really focus inwardly, looking at the business to see, well, and suddenly all these costs were uncovered that we managed to reduce. And something that wasn't as obvious was increasing efficiencies. So whatever your business, whether you're a service company or making a product, increasing efficiency at this time is so important as well. What do we need to stop doing is the question I want you to ask yourself in your business. What do we need to stop doing? And then look at all your processes, whatever they might be, whether it's putting your product or service together, or whether it's simply getting the invoice out, whatever the process is, what can be done better? What needs to be done better? And if you're not sure what can be done better in your business and you've got staff, ask them. I'm sure they'll be able to tell you exactly what processes in your business could be done better. The next thing was in reflection, and this was so important again in the last recession. Rethink your product mix and pricing strategies. Craig's alluded to this in the past. I've talked about it in the past too. Therefore, it's important enough for me to talk about it again in the next couple of minutes. And then, of course, rapid implementation is key. So if you've got a plan and it encompasses most of what's on the screen here, then that's great, but get on and do it, please. No point in having a plan if you're not going to get it done. So just do it. And don't worry if the plan's not perfect. Done is better than perfect, as the saying goes. So get on with it. Just a quick confirmation on where we are economically. The FTSE, as we know, is a good indicator of what's happening in the economy. And as we can see here, this is over the last year up to a couple of days ago. And there's been questions in the press, is it a V recession, is it an L recession? And to be honest, why is that important? Well, it is important, and if you like, excuse my scribbles here, hopefully you can see this. There's been nothing that I've seen in the last few weeks that don't indicate anything else other than that kind of shape recession, that kind of L shape. Why is that important to us? Well, it means that we'll be in this position probably until next July, September time. And that's confirmed by all the research that I've seen recently. So you'll be in this a while. The markets won't get back to normal until round about next July, September is the best estimates that I've seen from the information that I have. So what do we need to do? Well, we concentrate a little bit more on this product mix, pricing and packaging channels element. Not going to talk anymore. You've heard me talk about these products before, the little Kleenex hankies and the little malt lunchbox saurine loaf. These are both products that came out of recession. And why are they important? Well, they actually allowed people to buy them, to pay a price that they could afford. At the end of the day, they're still hankies and malt loaf, but they changed the packaging and sizes such that people, to get to a price point where people can afford them. And in addition to that, that's also opened up different channels to market for them as well. So the product mix, the pricing, packaging, channels, so important. What did I see happening in the last 3 months and in the last recession too? Well, I couldn't help but put in the famous Kelly Pie right up front here. Interesting was what we did at home here in the last 3 months. We actually ordered a Brownings box. So Brownings are the manufacturers of these phenomenal tasty treats. And we ordered a box that we paid £20 for, and it arrived and it was absolutely stuffed full of pancakes and potato scones and Empire biscuits and all these low-calorie things that are good for you. And we paid £20 for it. And I can honestly say I have never been in the shop in Kilmarnock and paid £20 for anything in my life. I've never spent £20 with Brownings in the retail store in Kilmarnock. But it just showed you by them taking a whole load of individual products and bundling them together, that they created a new product that people were willing to pay for. Bundling and unbundling is something that's commonly done and known by the big boys, by McDonald's. For example, at one time you had to buy and choose and pay for individually your burger, your chips, your Coke, your dessert if you had one. And then someone came along with a meal deal, bundled it all together, and you paid a lower price, but volume shot through the roof. So I'd ask you to look at your product or service and see what can you bundle together, what can you unbundle. And then something again that Craig's mentioned and alluded to before is this product market matrix. I couldn't find actually a decent picture, so I'll just quickly draw it. If you draw it for yourself and put your products along the bottom here, put your market on this axis, and just quickly, if you've got product 1, product 2, product 3 along the bottom, market.
I don't wish to cut across you, but just to make your drawing life easier, I'm going to be using that slide in about 10 minutes. So.
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant then. Same one. Isn't that spooky? So the idea is to have a look at your product market, see what products that you're selling into which markets, and find out which gaps exist. And as I say, Craig sounds like he's going to tell you a little bit more about that after. Which leaves me slightly more time to talk about innovation during recession. And it sounds a scary word, innovation, but we all have it in us. And here's my favourite ever story of recessionary product. And it was by this phenomenal woman entrepreneur called Ruth Wakefield. And it goes back to the daddy of all recessions, the Great Depression of 29 and 30. And in 1930, Ruth Wakefield, who was college educated, she ran the Toll House in 1930. She had one income stream in essence. And of course, the Great Depression took off, and that Toll House Inn that she ran, she served lobster dinners and she served very fine desserts. And of course, there was no money about then when the Depression started to pay for that. So what did she do? She went into her kitchen and came up, to cut a long story short, with the chocolate chip cookie. She is the inventor of the famous chocolate chip cookie, now called the Toll House cookie in the States, America's most popular cookie of all time. And so by 1938, she'd actually 4 income streams. She boosted, she mentioned the Toll House Inn, the restaurant, the cookbook, and the cookies themselves. And there is an argument, and there is some stories say that she actually invented it by accident, because, you know, God forbid that we actually had a woman entrepreneur that could come up with something as inventive as that. But no, it wasn't. She put it together, and the nice thing about it was, of course, she invented a product that was portable, and it was durable. People didn't need to come to a restaurant to eat it. So she sold these throughout the States. And finally, she in 1939, she actually sold the branding to Nestle, or the brand rights to Nestle. In 1966, she actually sold the Toll House Inn itself. And I have no idea how many cookbooks she actually sold, but you can still buy them on Amazon. I don't know what edition we're on now. And she died in 1977. So what do I want you to take from that story? I want you to go back and ask yourself, what are you doing in this recession to innovate your product or service in response to the market need, and really to fully leverage your brand? What is your equivalent of the chocolate chip cookie? And with that thought, I'll leave you there. Seems to be a lot of food coming through in my presentation today. I don't know why that is. Anyway, so there you go. So what are you doing in this recession to innovate your product in response to the market need now? Remember, people at this time are buying differently. They will buy different things in a recessionary period compared to a boom time. And remember, most market share exchanges and takes place. More market change and market share takes exchanges at this time than any other time in the economy. So there's a chance to grab some market share. All right, was there a couple of questions related to that? Let me see. Yeah, there's one here that says, as a startup and as we come out of hibernation, could you advise the renewed journey that we should take, given that we have never been in this space before? I think that everything, probably what you've heard so far, whoever asked that question, there's a lot of reaffirmation going on here that what you're doing, have that belief in what you're doing is actually is what you want to do, and you'll get there. You will find a way. You need some leadership. You need to go back and as the guys have been saying, talk to your clients, really get to understand and be intimate with them as to what they need right now. And start there. And if you start there and then just reaffirm and remember why you set this business up in the first place, I'm sure you'll get there.